Introduction: the power of just 1%. Welcome to Improve Yourself 1% every day. Not just a book, but a philosophy, a way of living, a movement. You may not realize it yet, but right now, this moment, holds the potential to change your life. Not because you're about to hear something magical, but because you're about to realize something powerful. Massive change doesn't come from giant leaps, it comes from small, consistent steps. You don't need to climb the mountain in a day. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You don't need to fix everything all at once. What you do need is the belief that you can be just a little bit better than you were yesterday, just 1% better each day. That's it, and here's the truth. 1% may seem small, but over time it becomes unstoppable. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Not about intensity, but consistency. Not about waiting for the perfect moment, but creating momentum, moment by moment. Audiobook Speech Chapter Outline: Improve Yourself 1% Every Day. Chapter 1: The Power of Tiny Gains. Introduce the 1% Rule. Show how small efforts compound over time. Compare growth vs. stagnation. Example: British cycling team's transformation. Chapter 2: Break the myth of overnight success. Debunk the illusion of instant success. Highlight slow progress as the real game changer. Real life story. J.K. Rowling's journey from rejection to global success. Chapter 3: Habits over hustle. Focus on identity-based habits. Introduce the idea: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Example: morning routines of successful individuals. Chapter 4: Master your mornings. The role of a purposeful morning routine in shaping the day. Introduce practical steps to begin with 1% improvements. Emotional hook: reclaiming your life, one sunrise at a time. Chapter 5: Embrace the boring importance of consistency and discipline. Celebrate monotony as the seed of greatness. Story: Kobe Bryant's basic drills and repetition. Chapter 6: Failure is feedback. Reframe failure as a growth tool. How 1% adjustments after setbacks lead to breakthroughs. Example: Thomas Edison's 1,0,0,0 failed light bulb attempts. Chapter 7: Environment shapes excellence. How your surroundings can accelerate or destroy growth. Build a supportive, high-standard environment. Real life story: Navy SEALs elite culture of discipline. Chapter 8: Guard your mind. The influence of thoughts and internal dialogue. Practicing self-talk improvement 1% at a time. Emotional anchor: the inner critic vs. the inner coach. Chapter 9: Purpose over perfection. Trade perfectionism for purpose-driven progress. Focus on intention, not flawlessness. Story: an artist who created daily instead of chasing perfect work. Chapter 10: Start today, repeat tomorrow. Anchor the listener in action. Inspire them to commit to one small step. Final call to action: what's your 1% today? Chapter 1: The Power of Tiny Gains. Welcome, and thank you for beginning this journey with me. Before we dive deeper into the big ideas, let me ask you a simple question. What if I told you that the key to a transformed life, a stronger body, a sharper mind, deeper relationships, and even greater wealth, doesn't lie in dramatic change, but in small, almost invisible steps? Yes, I'm talking about just 1%. 1% better every single day. You see, most people think change has to be explosive, overnight. They wait for the big moment, the New Year's resolution, the perfect Monday, the next opportunity. But what they don't realize is this: meaningful change doesn't happen when you do something massive once. It happens when you do something small consistently. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine improving just 1% every day. That sounds small, right? Almost laughable. But when you compound those tiny gains over time, something extraordinary happens. In a year, that 1% daily improvement doesn't make you 365% better. It makes you nearly 38 times better. That's not theory, that's math. That's the compound effect in action. Tiny gains done daily become transformation. Take the story of British cycling. For nearly a century, their cycling team was mediocre. No Olympic golds, no Tour de France titles, nothing to write home about. Then, in 2003, they hired a performance director named Dave Brailsford. His philosophy, the aggregation of marginal gains. He believed that if they could improve every area of cycling by just 1%, from bike seats to training to even the massage gel, they could win. And when they did, under Brailsford, British cycling dominated. They won 70% of the gold medals in track cycling at the 2008 Olympics. Then again at the 2012 Games, they won 5 Tour de France titles in 6 years. All because they trusted the power of tiny gains. Now, let's bring that to you. You might not be training for the Olympics, but you are racing in your own life, and that life deserves the same principle. What if you improved just 1% in your fitness? Maybe walking for 10 minutes today. What if you got 1% more patient with your partner or 1% more focused at work? What if you read just 1 page more each night? It might not feel like much today, but weeks from now, months from now, you'll be unrecognizable in the best possible way. Here's the truth. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year with small, consistent action. And that's why they quit, they sprint, they burn out, they get discouraged because they don't see fireworks right away. But the person who wins the race isn't always the fastest. It's the one who refuses to stop. The one who stacks those 1% gains when no one is watching. Think about water dripping on rock. Drop by drop, it seems powerless, but given enough time, it shapes stone, not because of strength, but because of consistency. Your life is the same. You don't need to force a breakthrough. You need to earn one through daily effort. Let me share something personal. There was a time in my life when I felt completely stuck, overwhelmed by my goals, unsure where to begin. I wanted to do everything right away. Fix my health, build a business, write a book, save money. But that ambition became my enemy, because every time I tried to do everything, I ended up doing nothing. That's when I discovered this idea. What if I just do one small thing each day? I started reading 2 pages a night. I drank 1 extra glass of water. I meditated for 1 minute. Laughable, maybe, but you know what happened. 1 minute became 5. 2 pages became 10. That glass of water turned into a daily wellness ritual, and eventually everything changed because 1% wasn't just progress. It was momentum. It gave me confidence. It made me feel in control again, and more importantly, it showed me that change is not an event. It's a lifestyle. So let me ask you, what's your 1%? Not your next big leap, not your 5-year plan, just your 1% today. What's one thing you can do right now to move forward? Because that one thing isn't small. That one thing is your seed of greatness. It's how you shift from passive dreaming to purposeful doing. And remember this, every time you choose your 1%, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And the more votes you cast, the more you solidify that identity. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Tiny improvements done daily become unstoppable change. This is your time, not for a revolution, but for a quiet evolution. 1% at a time. Chapter 2. Break the myth of overnight success. Let's be honest. We live in a world that glorifies speed. We scroll through highlight reels, binge success stories, and soak up stories of people who seem to make it overnight. A teenager builds an app and becomes a millionaire. A musician goes viral and lands a record deal. A startup explodes in a year. Social media, television, and the internet keep telling us that success should be instant, immediate, explosive. But here's the truth that nobody tells you. Overnight success is a myth. Let me say that again because it's important. Overnight success is a myth. What looks like a sudden breakthrough is almost always the result of years, sometimes decades, of invisible effort. What you see in the light is almost always built in the dark. Think of a bamboo tree. When you plant its seed, you water it, feed it, and care for it. For the first year, nothing happens. The second year, still nothing. The third, nothing. It's easy to give up, but in the fifth year, something extraordinary takes place. In just a few weeks, the bamboo suddenly grows 80 feet tall. Did it really grow overnight? Of course not. It was growing underground the whole time, building roots, establishing strength. The sudden growth was just the final act. And people are just like bamboo trees. The foundation you build in silence, the reps, the learning, the discipline. That's what leads to the moment when everything seems to happen all at once. Let's take an example from the world of business. Ever heard of Sarah Blakely? She's the founder of Spanx and became the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. When people hear her story, they often focus on the explosion. How she launched a product, Oprah loved it, and the company skyrocketed. But what they miss is the 7 years she spent selling fax machines door to door while working on her idea. They don't see the hundreds of rejections she faced, or how she wrote her own patent because she couldn't afford a lawyer, or how she stayed up late night after night packing orders from her apartment floor. That is the real story of success. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it is powerful. Here's the thing: we're wired for instant gratification. We want the results now, but greatness doesn't work on our schedule. It shows up when we're ready for it, and being ready isn't about desire. It's about preparation, grit, persistence. When you fall for the myth of overnight success, you're setting yourself up for frustration. You start comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You begin to question your journey because it doesn't feel fast enough. But here's what you must remember: slow progress is still progress. And often the slowest seasons are the most important, because that's where the real growth happens. There's a beautiful story of an artist named Vincent van Gogh. Today, he's known as one of the most influential painters in history. His works are priceless. But did you know he only sold one painting during his lifetime? One. He died poor, unknown, uncelebrated, but he kept painting. He kept creating, because he believed in the process, not the applause. The lesson here is clear. Fall in love with the process, not the outcome. Don't chase quick wins. Chase deep roots. Ask yourself, what would you do if no one clapped for it? What dream would you pursue if the reward wasn't guaranteed, but the growth was? That's where your power lies. That's where your character is built. Let me give you another angle. Do you remember the movie Rocky? Sylvester Stallone wrote that script in 3 days, but it took him years to sell it. He was so broke, he had to sell his dog to survive. Studios offered him money, but only if he wouldn't star in it. He refused. He held on to his vision, and when he finally made the movie on a shoestring budget, it won 3 Oscars and made him a star. To the world, it looked like success happened overnight, but in reality, it was a decade of struggle packed into one breakthrough. So if you're listening to this today and feeling like your progress is too slow, I want you to breathe. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are building your roots. Let's reframe how we define success. Success isn't being discovered, it's being developed. It's not what you gain in the spotlight. It's who you become in the shadows. Success is waking up and doing the work even when no one sees you, even when no one praises you, even when there's no trophy at the end of the day. Because when that moment finally comes, and it will come, it won't be luck. It won't be magic. It'll be the result of your relentless 1% effort stacked day after day, and that's the kind of success that lasts. So here's your challenge today. Look at your goals and ask, am I chasing a quick fix or am I planting seeds? Am I patient enough to water them every day, knowing the growth will be invisible at first? Let's stop celebrating speed. Let's start celebrating endurance, because the people who win in the long run are those who understand this truth. The journey is the reward. You don't need to be an overnight success. You just need to be someone who refuses to quit. And that's the most powerful success story of all. Chapter 3. Build habits that stick. What if I told you that success isn't a result of talent, luck, or motivation? That the real foundation of a meaningful, powerful life comes down to one thing: your habits. Not what you do once in a while, but what you do every single day without thinking. The truth is, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And those systems are built with habits. Let's be clear. Habits are the invisible architecture of our lives. They are the quiet forces shaping your days, your identity, and your destiny. And the most amazing part: you're already a master of habits. You wake up and check your phone, you brush your teeth, you drink coffee, you tie your shoes the same way every morning. You don't even think about it. That's the magic and the danger of habits. They run on autopilot, so the real question isn't whether you have habits. It's whether the habits you have are serving the person you want to become. Now let's break this down. Every habit follows a loop: cue, routine, and reward. A cue triggers the behavior, the routine is the action, and the reward reinforces it. Over time, this loop hardwires into your brain, and that's where the transformation begins. Imagine this: you want to get healthier. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire lifestyle, you start with a 5-minute walk after dinner. That's it, small, manageable. Every night, right after putting your plate away, you grab your shoes. That's your cue. The walk is your routine, the fresh air and sense of accomplishment. That's your reward. You do it again the next day, and again. Before you know it, that 5-minute walk turns into 15, then 30. Then you're jogging. But it all started with a simple cue and a tiny, consistent habit. This is the secret to real, lasting change. Make it so small that you can't fail. We often try to change our lives with big, dramatic actions. But lasting habits don't start big. They start small and they grow. You don't need to meditate for 30 minutes. Start with 2 minutes. Don't try to write a novel overnight. Start with 1 paragraph a day. What matters most is showing up, because showing up builds momentum, and momentum builds identity. That's the next truth I want you to hear. Every habit is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you read a page, you're casting a vote for being a reader. When you practice gratitude, you're casting a vote for being a positive person. When you save even $1, you're voting to be financially responsible. And over time, those votes add up. They shift your self-image. Suddenly, you're not someone trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You're not trying to be healthy. You are healthy because your habits prove it to you every single day. Let me share a real story. A man named James Clear, yes, the author of Atomic Habits, once described a transformation in his own life. After a serious injury in high school, he rebuilt his body and his confidence through small habits. He didn't start by trying to bench 200 pounds. He started by showing up to the gym every day, even if it was just for 5 minutes. He built consistency first. He built identity. That's why his book resonated with millions. Because habits aren't just about action, they're about becoming. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I've tried building habits before, and I always fall off. Trust me, I get it. We all struggle with consistency. But the key isn't willpower, it's environment. You see, your environment is stronger than your intentions. If your phone is on your desk, you'll check it. If junk food is in your kitchen, you'll eat it. So make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow. Want to stop scrolling? Delete the app from your home screen. Want to eat healthier? Chop veggies ahead of time. Stack your environment in favor of your future self, because your future self isn't some distant version of you. It's built by what you choose today. And here's something else. Never miss twice. You're human. You'll slip, you'll miss a workout, eat that slice of cake, or skip journaling. That's okay. Forgive yourself, but don't let one miss turn into a streak. Get back on track the very next day. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means you keep coming back. We often think motivation is what we need to build habits, but here's the paradox. Habits build motivation. Action creates inspiration, not the other way around. The more you show up, the more momentum you create. And momentum beats motivation every single time. Let me end with this. Imagine your life a year from now, not because you made one massive change, but because you made one small change every day. You started showing up. You stacked habits like bricks. You cast thousands of votes for the person you want to be. What does that version of you look like? How do they walk, speak, lead, love? That person isn't a fantasy. That person is you, built one habit at a time. So here's your challenge today. Choose one habit, just one. Make it small, make it simple, do it daily, and watch as that tiny act becomes a thread that weaves through your life, creating a future you'll be proud of. Chapter 4. Master your morning, win your day. Picture this. The sun is just rising. The world is quiet. Most people are still asleep, but you're already ahead. Your feet hit the floor with purpose. Your body feels awake. Your mind is clear. You're not rushing. You're not reacting. You're in control. Why? Because you've mastered your morning. And that means you're ready to win the day. Let's be honest. How we start our morning shapes everything that follows. Your energy, your mindset, your focus, your decisions. If you roll out of bed feeling behind, checking your phone, scrolling through bad news or messages, you're starting the day in reaction mode. And when you're reacting, you're not creating. You're not leading. You're not living intentionally. The most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they all have one thing in common. They fiercely protect the first hour of their day. They treat it like sacred ground because they know that success doesn't start with what you do later. It starts with what you do first. Now, let me be clear, there's no one-size-fits-all perfect morning routine. But the key is this: your morning should belong to you, not to your inbox, your notifications, or your obligations. Let me share a story with you. There's a man named Hal Elrod who wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. After nearly dying in a horrific car crash, Hal was told he might never walk again. He not only walked, he ran ultramarathons. But what changed his life more than anything was a simple morning routine. Every day, before the world asked anything of him, he spent an hour working on himself in silence, with affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and journaling. That routine pulled him out of depression, built his confidence, and created the life he once thought was out of reach. This isn't magic, it's intentionality. Now imagine your own morning. What if, instead of hitting snooze 3 times, you got up with purpose? What if, instead of grabbing your phone, you grabbed your journal or your gratitude list? What if you moved your body, even just for 5 minutes, to shake off sleep and remind yourself, I'm alive, I'm here, and I'm ready to lead today? When you master your morning, you send a message to yourself. I am the creator of my day, not the victim of it. Let's break it down. There are a few core pillars of a powerful morning. 1. Stillness in a world that screams for your attention. Start your day in quiet. Whether it's meditation, prayer, deep breathing, or simply sitting in silence with a cup of coffee, give your mind space to wake up without chaos. Stillness grounds you. It helps you listen to your own voice before the world drowns it out. 2. Movement. You don't need to run a marathon. Just move, stretch, walk, do a few push-ups, get the blood flowing. Movement energizes the body and clears mental fog. It releases dopamine and endorphins, your natural motivation and feel good chemicals. 3. Gratitude. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Every morning, gratitude rewires your brain. It pulls your attention away from what's missing and onto what's already beautiful. That shift alone can change your entire day. 4. Vision. Remind yourself of where you're going. Visualize your goals. Say your affirmations. Picture the life you're building, clearly, vividly, emotionally. When your mind sees the future, your body will move toward it. 5. Learning. Read for 10 minutes. Listen to a podcast. Study something that stretches your mind. Feed your brain before you feed your inbox. Grow first, bond later. Even if you do just 1 or 2 of these for 5 to 10 minutes consistently, it will change your life. Because it's not about how long you do it, it's about the intention behind it. You're choosing yourself before the world gets a chance to choose for you. Think of it like this: your morning is the steering wheel of your day. If you grab it firmly, you drive with direction. If you let it go, life pulls you wherever it wants. Which one will you choose? Let me share one more story. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most powerful voices in media, starts her mornings with meditation, a workout, a healthy breakfast, and spiritual reading. She says it sets the tone for her entire day, not her assistant. Not her phone, not the news, her. She leads her energy before she leads her empire. Now you might be thinking, I'm not a morning person. That's okay. This isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. It's about owning your first hour, whatever time that is. Whether it's 6:00, 7:00, or even 10:00 a.m., just protect it, make it yours. Even if you start with just 10 minutes of stillness and one written affirmation, you're taking control. You're setting the tone. You're telling life, I'm ready and I'm in charge. So here's your challenge today. Design a morning ritual that works for you. Start small. Keep it simple, but stay consistent. Show up for yourself first before you show up for the world. Because the way you begin your morning isn't just how you start the day. It's how you shape your identity. And when you master your morning, you don't just win the next 24 hours. You win your life. Chapter 5. Control the controllables. Life throws curvy balls. There's no escaping that. Plans fall apart. People disappoint. The weather ruins your weekend. The market crashes. A traffic jam makes you late. These moments are frustrating, yes, but they're also inevitable. And in the middle of that chaos, you're left with one critical choice. What are you going to focus on? This chapter is about one of the most powerful principles of personal growth. Control the control labels. It's simple in theory, but life-changing in practice. If you can master this, you become unshakable. Let's take a step back. You and I, we don't control much. We can't control the economy. We can't control other people's attitudes. We can't control the past, and we can't predict the future. But we do control three incredibly powerful things: our attitude, our effort, our response. That's your domain. That's your circle of power. Let's start with attitude. When something doesn't go your way, what's your first reaction? Most people complain, they blame, they shrink, but the strongest among us pause, breathe, and choose their perspective. It's not denial. It's discipline. They don't pretend everything is perfect. They choose to see a path forward. That's attitude. That's strength. Take Viktor Frankl, for example, a Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable suffering in a Nazi concentration camp. He lost his family, his freedom, nearly his life. But in his book Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote something incredible. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Let that sink in. Even when stripped of everything, Frankl realized his attitude was his power, and that's true for us too. No one can take your attitude unless you give it away. Next, let's talk about effort. You may not be the smartest, the fastest, or the most experienced, but effort. That's 100% under your control. You decide how hard you work. You decide how long you stay committed. You decide how many times you get back up after you fall. Think of Kobe Bryant. He wasn't just a basketball legend because of talent. He was known for his Mamba mentality, his relentless work ethic. He would show up at 4 a.m. to train while others were sleeping. Why? Because effort compounds, and when you pour in the effort, even when no one's watching, you earn your confidence. Your effort is your superpower. It's the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Now the third, and perhaps most overlooked, piece of the puzzle: response. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond. Every setback, every insult, every failure offers you two choices: react or respond. Reacting is emotional, impulsive. Responding is intentional. There's a story of a young man who was cut from his high school basketball team. Most would have quit, but instead he used that moment to fuel him. That young man was Michael Jordan. The setback didn't define him. His response did. So what does it mean to control the controllables in your everyday life? It means when your boss criticizes you unfairly, you take a breath, stay calm, and respond with clarity instead of rage. It means when you wake up tired and unmotivated, you choose to put in effort anyway. It means when your plans get derailed, you pivot instead of panic. It means you stop wasting energy on things you can't change and double down on the things you can. Because here's the truth, the quality of your life is directly tied to what you focus on. If you constantly focus on things outside your control, you'll feel anxious, bitter, and powerless. But when you bring your attention back to what you can control, you become confident, grounded, and focused. Let's go even deeper. When you focus on the uncontrollable, your world shrinks. You start playing the victim. You say things like, "I can't help it," or "that's just the way it is." But when you focus on the controllables, your world expands. You shift from victim to leader. You say, "What can I do now? What can I learn from this? How can I grow here?" And that shift, that single decision, is often the difference between stuck and successful. Now I want you to think about your life today. What's one area where you've been focusing too much on what you can't control? Is it other people's opinions, the past, the economy, social media? Let it go. Breathe it out and ask yourself, what can I do about this right now? Maybe you can't fix the whole situation, but you can choose your attitude, you can bring effort, you can control your response, and that's enough. That's more than enough to create real, lasting change. So here's your challenge today. Make a list. On one side, write what's out of your control. On the other side, write what's within it. Then, cross out everything on the first list. Ignore it, let it go. It's not yours to carry. Circle everything on the second list. That's your power zone. That's where your energy belongs. Because when you start controlling the controllables, you stop waiting for life to change and start becoming the kind of person who changes their life. Chapter 6. Learn from every failure. Failure, just the word makes some people flinch. It stirs up memories of embarrassment, disappointment, even shame. Maybe it was a test you failed, a business that never took off, a relationship that ended when you gave it your all. But what if I told you that failure isn't the enemy? That in fact, failure is the very thing that sharpens us, teaches us, and prepares us for greatness, if we choose to learn from it. You see, we live in a culture that celebrates success, but whispers about failure. We post our highlights and filter out the breakdowns, but behind every triumph, there's a trail of setbacks. The difference between winners and everyone else isn't that they never fail, it's that they never stop. Let's go deeper. Failure is not a sign you're unworthy. It's a sign you're trying. It's feedback. It's information. It's a brutal but honest teacher. And if you listen closely, failure will show you exactly what needs to be done differently next time. Let me tell you a story. You probably know the name Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. But do you know he failed over 1,000 times before he got it right? A reporter once asked him, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times? Edison famously replied, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That's the mindset of someone who learns from failure. Think about that for a moment. How many of us would have quit after the 5th try? The 20th, the 200th, but Edison kept learning. Every failure brought him closer. He treated mistakes not as stop signs, but as stepping stones. Now let's bring it back to you. What was your last failure? A goal you didn't meet, a dream that fell apart, a moment you felt you weren't enough. Here's the truth. Failure stings. It's real, and it hurts. But you get to decide what to do with it. Will you use it to build a wall or build a bridge? Every failure is asking you a question. Are you going to grow from this? And when your answer is yes, everything changes. Let's talk about 3 powerful ways to learn from failure. 1. Own it. It's easy to blame others. To say, well, my boss didn't support me, or the timing wasn't right. But real growth starts when you stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. Where did I go wrong? What can I take responsibility for? Owning your failure doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful, because when you take ownership, you take control. You move from victim to student. 2. Extract the lesson. Every failure carries a lesson, but only if you look for it. Maybe you were unprepared. Maybe you underestimated the challenge. Maybe you ignored a red flag. Whatever it was, write it down, study it. Use it as a blueprint for next time. NBA legend Michael Jordan, often called the greatest basketball player of all time, once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Every shot he missed was a lesson. Every game he lost was part of the process. Failure taught him how to win. 3. Apply the lesson. It's not enough to just understand what went wrong. You have to do something different. If you failed because you procrastinated, next time create a plan. If you failed because you lacked skills, invest time to learn. If you failed because of pride, come back with humility. Knowledge without action is wasted wisdom. Take Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. Early in her career, she sold fax machines door to door. She heard no all day long, but she didn't quit. She kept learning from each rejection. Eventually, she created a product no one believed in, but she believed in herself. Today, she's a billionaire. Why? Because she turned failure into fuel. Now let me tell you what failure is not. Failure is not a definition of who you are. It's not permanent. It's not the end of the road. It's a detour. It's a signpost saying, reroute, better path ahead. If you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to grow. And if you avoid failure at all costs, you'll live a life of comfort, not greatness. Because greatness is always found on the other side of failure. Remember this, failing doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're courageous enough to try. So what can you do today? Look at your past failures not with shame, but with curiosity. What did you learn about yourself? What did you discover about your resilience? How did you come back stronger? Then ask yourself, what can I try again, this time with more wisdom? Because learning from failure is what transforms a person who tried once into a person who succeeds always. So here's your challenge. This week, do something bold enough that failure is a real possibility. Take the shot, launch the idea, say the truth, and if it doesn't go perfectly good, because now you've got your next lesson. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to get better, one attempt at a time, one lesson at a time, 1% at a time. Chapter 7. Your environment shapes you. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt your energy shift? Maybe you felt inspired, clear, headed, and productive, or maybe the opposite. You felt drained, distracted, and low. That's no coincidence. That's the power of environment. It shapes you, quietly, constantly, and often without you even realizing it. You are not just a product of your thoughts and habits. You're a product of your surroundings. Look around. What's in your physical space? What's in your social circle? What do you see, hear, and experience every single day? Because that environment is either helping you grow or it's holding you back. Let's get something straight. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if you're planted in toxic soil, you'll struggle to grow. Imagine this, you plant a seed, but you place it in a dark basement with no sunlight, poor soil, and no water. Will it grow? Of course not. It doesn't matter how strong or special the seed is. The environment matters. Now apply that to yourself. You may have dreams, drive, talent, but if you're constantly surrounded by clutter, negativity, distractions, and people who don't believe in you, you'll be stunted. You won't thrive, not because you aren't capable, but because you're in the wrong environment. So let's break this down. There are 3 key environments that shape your life: your physical environment, your social environment, and your mental environment. And when you take charge of these 3 areas, you accelerate your growth like never before. 1. Your physical environment, designed for focus. Let's start with the space around you. Your desk, your bedroom, your kitchen. These places either help you move forward or silently sabotage you. If your workspace is messy, full of distractions, or uninspiring, it will drain your focus. If your kitchen is stocked with junk food, you'll reach for it even when you don't want to. If your bed is where you work, scroll, and sleep, it'll confuse your brain and disturb your rest. Now flip that. Imagine a clean, organized, minimal workspace, a morning routine corner with a journal and some sunlight, a kitchen stocked with healthy fuel, a bedroom designed for deep rest. That kind of space doesn't just look better, it makes you better. Because when your environment supports your goals, everything gets easier. Don't rely on willpower, rely on design. Make success the default by setting up your surroundings to match the person you want to become. Want to read more? Put books where you can see them. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout gear the night before. Want to eat better? Prep your meals and ditch the junk. Tiny shifts in your space create massive shifts in behavior. 2. Your social environment. Choose your circle carefully now. Let's talk people. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You've heard it before, and it's still true. The people you spend the most time with are shaping your identity, values, and mindset every day. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Do they challenge you to grow or keep you stuck in comfort? Do they celebrate your wins or secretly resent them? Your energy is contagious, and so is theirs. You don't have to cut everyone out, but you do have to get intentional. Spend more time with those who energize you. Seek out mentors, supportive friends, even online communities where people are driven to improve. Surround yourself with people who are playing the game at a higher level, and you'll start leveling up too. Jim Rohn said it best, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so take inventory. Who are your 5? Now, a quick but powerful story. In the 1990s, a young man named Elon Musk wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't famous. He was just another tech guy in Silicon Valley. But he surrounded himself with brilliant, ambitious, risk-taking people. That early circle included people who went on to build PayPal, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Tesla. Together, they challenged each other, pushed boundaries, and took bold risks. Elon didn't just grow because of who he was. He grew because of who he was with. 3. Your mental environment. Guard your mind last, and perhaps most important. Your mental environment. What are you feeding your mind? What do you read, watch, and listen to? Is your media diet filled with fear, drama, and outrage? Or inspiration, ideas, and growth? We live in a noisy world. Social media, news, gossip, endless scrolling. It's constant, and every bit of it is shaping your internal world. If you don't filter your input, your mind becomes cluttered, anxious, and reactive. So be ruthless. Unfollow negativity. Turn off the news if it's draining you. Limit time in mindless apps. Instead, flood your mind with fuel. Audiobooks, podcasts, uplifting music, insightful conversations, deep reflection. What you think about all day becomes your life, so think about what's worth thinking about. Here's a tip: start your day with intention. Before checking your phone, read 1 page of something inspiring. Listen to 5 minutes of a podcast that challenges you. Set the tone. That small shift can shape the next 24 hours in your future. So let's recap. To improve 1% every day, you must shape the environment that shapes you. Curate your space for focus and ease. Choose your people with purpose and love. Feed your mind with what you want to become. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just pick one area today. Clean your desk, call a positive friend, read 1 page. That's your 1%. That's the spark. Because your environment is like the soil you plant yourself in. Get that right, and you'll grow beyond what you ever thought was possible. Chapter 8. Build discipline like a muscle. Discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, and it's rarely celebrated. But let me tell you this, discipline is the silent engine behind every success story. The athletes, the artists, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, they all have one thing in common. They do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like doing it. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about being rigid or robotic. It's about becoming someone who shows up for your dreams, your health, your goals, regardless of mood, motivation, or circumstance. It's about building the internal strength to do the hard things consistently. Let's be clear, motivation may get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. Most people wait for the right time. the perfect mood, the burst of inspiration. But the truth is, the people who achieve the most aren't relying on feelings. They're relying on systems. They've trained themselves to act, no matter what. Here's the good news. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's not a magical trait some people have and others don't. Discipline is a skill, it's a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows when you use it. Let me take you back to a cold morning in February. It's 5:30 a.m. The alarm blares, the bed is warm, the sky is still dark. You've got two choices. Hit snooze or get up and do the work. That single moment, that's where discipline lives, in the quiet, in the uncelebrated, in the no one's watching choices. Now multiply that moment by 365 days. That's how discipline transforms lives. Think of any Olympic athlete. Do they wake up every day full of energy and excitement? No, but they lace up their shoes anyway. They follow the plan. They push through the boredom, the fatigue, the setbacks, because they know every rep, every lap, every session compounds. That's the 1% mindset in action. So how do you build discipline like a muscle? Let's break it down into 3 powerful principles. 1. Start small. Stay consistent. Discipline doesn't start with giant leaps. It starts with small, repeatable actions. The kind you can do every day without fail. That's how you build trust with yourself. Want to start waking up early? Don't jump from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. overnight. Start by waking up 15 minutes earlier this week. Then another 15 next week. Build slowly. Let the habit take root. Want to start working out? Don't commit to 2 hours a day at the gym. Start with 10 minutes of movement at home. Stretch, walk, breathe. Make it doable, and then do it daily. The power isn't in the size of the action. It's in the consistency. Small efforts done daily are more powerful than intense efforts done occasionally. Remember, you don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent, too. Create triggers and routines. Discipline loves structure. If you wait until you feel like it, chances are you won't. That's where routines come in. Set up cues in your day that trigger the right behaviors. For example, leave your workout clothes next to your bed so they're the first thing you see. Set your journal or planner on your desk the night before. Schedule your writing or creative time like a meeting. Non-negotiable. The fewer decisions you have to make, the easier it becomes to follow through, because decision fatigue is real, and it's one of the biggest discipline killers. Think of your routines as an autopilot for success. The less you rely on willpower, the more you rely on design, and design wins. 3. Honor your commitments to yourself. This one's big. Every time you set a goal and don't follow through, you send yourself a message, I can't trust me, and over time that erodes self-confidence. But when you follow through, especially when it's hard, you send a different message, I keep my word, and that builds identity. Discipline at its core is an act of self-respect. It's showing up for yourself, even when no one else sees it. It's not about punishment, it's about promise. A promise that your future self is counting on you to keep. So don't overcommit. Don't say you'll do something if you won't. Start small, stay true, and build the muscle of self-trust, 1 rep at a time. Let me share a story. You've probably heard of Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL, author, and leadership coach. He wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every day. Why? Not because he enjoys losing sleep. Not because it's trendy. But because, as he puts it, discipline equals freedom. That early morning wake-up gives him control over his day. That structure gives him freedom to think, move, lead, and grow. It's a paradox. By embracing discipline, you gain more freedom than ever. You become the kind of person who doesn't need external motivation. You become your own fuel. So what's your next step? Pick one area of your life and build discipline in it. Just one. Maybe it's your sleep, your nutrition, your fitness, your writing. Start with something small, something manageable, and do it every single day for the next 7 days. Track it, celebrate it, and notice how you feel, because discipline isn't a prison. It's the path to power. It's what takes potential and turns it into progress. Remember, you don't need to feel like it. You just need to begin, and once you begin, keep going. Discipline isn't about never slipping up. It's about never giving up. It's about getting back up faster. It's about choosing to be better, not perfect. So build it, train it, strengthen it, one rep at a time, one promise at a time, 1% at a time. Chapter 9. Break through your limits. There's a moment, one we all face, when we hit a wall. When we tell ourselves, this is as far as I can go. Maybe it's physical, maybe it's mental, maybe it's emotional, but it feels real, it feels final, and that's the moment that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Because the truth is, your limits are not real, they're not walls, they're fences, and fences can be climbed. You see, most people live in the boundaries of what they think they can do, not what they're truly capable of. They've convinced themselves, consciously or not, that growth only happens up to a point. But that's a lie, a comforting lie that keeps us safe, a lie that whispers you've done enough, right when you're about to level up. Let's get one thing straight. Growth begins where your comfort zone ends. It begins when you challenge the assumptions you've built your identity around. I'm not a morning person. I'm not creative. I could never run a marathon. I'm just bad with money. I can't lead people. All of these are stories, not truths. Stories we've accepted as fact because we've never dared to test them. So how do you break through your limits? How do you push beyond that wall? Let me show you. There are 3 steps to this breakthrough. 1. Recognize the self-imposed ceiling. The first step is awareness. You can't break what you don't see. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life have you stopped trying? What part of you feels like it's just how you are? That's often the clue. That's where your limit lies. It could be fitness, relationships, speaking in public, starting a business, forgiving someone, loving yourself. The moment you name that limit is the moment you regain your power, because you've just separated yourself from the story. You are not the ceiling. You're the one who can break through it. Let me give you an example. David Goggins, former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete, was once 300 pounds, working a pest control job, feeling lost. He had every reason to stay there, every story to keep him small. But he looked in the mirror and made a decision. I will no longer be a prisoner of my mind. He recognized the ceiling, and then he shattered it. 2. Lean into discomfort. The second step. Discomfort. Here's the unfiltered truth. You will never break your limits while staying comfortable. The magic isn't in the easy reps. It's in the hard ones, the painful ones, the ones that make you want to quit. And yet, discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your compass. It shows you where the next breakthrough lies. Want to become a better speaker? Speak when your voice shakes. Want to build mental toughness? Wake up earlier than feels good. Want to grow your business? Have the uncomfortable conversations. Want to become emotionally strong? Sit with your feelings. Don't run from them. Growth is not supposed to feel good in the moment. It's supposed to stretch you. Just like a muscle, your mind and spirit grow under pressure, under stress, when pushed beyond their current capacity. And every time you lean into that discomfort, you're sending a powerful signal to your brain. We don't run anymore. We rise. 3. Build evidence that you're stronger than you think. Here's where the transformation happens. Every time you take action outside your limit, no matter how small, you collect evidence. You prove to yourself, I can. You collect data points that destroy the lie. You become undeniable to yourself, and here's the wild part. The more you do this, the faster your identity shifts. Suddenly, you're not the person who could never run. You're the person who ran today and will again tomorrow. You're not the person who's just shy. You're the person who introduced themselves at that event last week. You're not the one who always gives up. You're the one who kept going just once, and that once was everything. Let me tell you about a woman named Jessica. She was terrified of public speaking, like heart tracing, palms, sweating, can't breathe kind of fear. For years she avoided it, until one day she stood up at a small networking event and introduced herself. Just one sentence, that's it. But that one sentence changed her life, because it proved the fear wasn't fatal. She didn't die. No one laughed. She did it. And from that moment, she began to build her confidence step by step. A workshop, a presentation, a TEDx talk. Now she coaches others through fear. It started with a crack in the wall. So what's your wall? Think about your biggest limitation, the one that keeps you small, the one you hide from others and maybe even yourself. Now picture yourself on the other side of that wall, strong, calm, empowered, free. How would you act? What would you pursue? Who would you become? Because that version of you, they already exist, but you have to walk through the fire to reach them. Breaking your limits isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. It's waking up every day with the mindset, I will not settle. It's pushing 1 inch further than yesterday. It's choosing growth over fear. That's the 1% improvement. That's how breakthroughs happen. Not in explosions, but in decisions, in quiet defiance, in choosing your future self over your current comfort. Your call to action, right now. Choose one limit you've accepted for too long and challenge it. Just once, do the thing, take the first step. Prove the voice in your head wrong. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that you do it, today, not tomorrow, because every time you act, you reclaim your power. Remember, your limits are lies. Your growth is right outside them, and your life is waiting on the other side. Let today be the day you break through. Chapter 10. Become unstoppable. So here we are. Chapter 10. The final chapter in this journey, but also the beginning of a new one for you. You've learned how to start small, how to build habits, how to conquer fear, how to push limits, and how to keep showing up. But now it's time for the ultimate transformation. Now we talk about becoming unstoppable. But let's be clear, being unstoppable doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean never feeling tired or afraid. It doesn't mean success comes without struggle. No, being unstoppable means you keep going despite all of it. It means you've made a decision that no excuse, no delay, no setback will stop you from growing. It's about becoming the kind of person who rises no matter how many times they fall. So how do you do that? Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Arjun who dreamed of becoming a world-class martial artist. He wasn't fast. He wasn't naturally strong. He didn't come from a wealthy background, but what he did have was grit. Every morning before the sun came up, he would train. Every evening after work, he would stretch, spar, and study. People laughed at him. You're not made for this, they'd say. You're wasting your time. But Arjun had made a decision. He wasn't doing it to prove them wrong. He was doing it to prove himself right. Year after year, he didn't miss a day. He wasn't always motivated, but he was always committed. That was the difference. One day, his mentor asked him, "Why haven't you quit, even when no one believed in you?" And Arjun smiled and replied, "Because I already decided. I'm not stopping until I win, and even then I'll keep going." That's what it means to be unstoppable. It's not about talent. It's not about resources. It's about a relentless decision to show up again and again, especially when no one's watching. Let's break down what it takes to truly become unstoppable. 1. Make your identity stronger than your circumstances. Your external world will always change. Money comes and goes. Opportunities rise and fall. People enter and exit your life. But who you are at your core, that's your anchor. To be unstoppable, you must build your identity around consistency, purpose, and resilience. Tell yourself, I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. Say, I don't need everything to be perfect to make progress. Believe I'm built for the climb, not just the summit. Once your identity is rooted in discipline and growth, it doesn't matter what happens outside. You'll stay the course because you've already decided, this is who I am now. 2. Fall in love with the process. Unstoppable people don't just chase results. They find joy in the process. Yes, they want the goal. Yes, they want success. But what they truly embrace is the work, the grind, the quiet victories, the journey itself. They find purpose in waking up early, in pushing through discomfort, in mastering the tiny details that others overlook. While most people want shortcuts, the unstoppable become obsessed with the long road, because that's where greatness is forged. So ask yourself, Do you love what you're becoming through the process? If not, reconnect with your why, because your why is the fuel, and when you have that fire, no obstacle stands a chance. 3. Control the controllables. Life will throw chaos your way. Rejection, failure, betrayal, illness. It's all part of the game. But here's the truth, you don't have to control everything. You just have to control your response. Unstoppable people don't complain about the weather. They train in the rain. They don't wait for perfect timing. They take imperfect action. They don't break from pressure. They bend and then bounce back harder. Their secret, they focus only on what they can control. Their attitude, their effort, their habits, their mindset, that's where power lies. That's where transformation begins. Control the controllables and nothing can shake you. 4. Stay ruthlessly consistent. Let me be real with you. The world rewards consistency more than intensity. It's not about how hard you go once. It's about how long you can stay in the game. That's why improving yourself 1% every day works. Because it compounds, it builds. It becomes unstoppable. The person who meditates for 5 minutes daily will become more grounded than the person who does 1-hour sessions once a month. The writer who crafts 300 words a day will finish their book before the one who waits for inspiration. The athlete who trains smart and regularly will outlast the one who burns out chasing perfection. Consistency turns average people into unstoppable legends. 5. Burn the backup plan. Unstoppable people remove the escape routes. They stop treating their dreams like hobbies and start treating them like missions. They don't say, I'll try. They say, I must. They don't say, if it doesn't work out, I'll do something else. They say, I'll find a way, no matter what. Burn the backup plan, commit, all in, because once you do, your mind shifts. You stop looking for exits and start building doors. You stop waiting to be rescued and start saving yourself. Your final call to action. If you've made it this far, you already have the mindset of a warrior. You've already chosen growth, but now it's time to go all the way. Decide today to become unstoppable, not tomorrow, not someday, now. Write your vision, build your plan, show up daily, and no matter how hard it gets, remind yourself, I've come too far to only come this far. Let your story be one of relentless pursuit, of resilience in the face of storms, of progress made inch by inch. Let the world watch in awe as you rise, again and again and again, because you are unstoppable.